Yeah, I mean, I witter on, don't I? And the thing is, being slightly unemployed of late, I have been sorting out the cabinet and the shelves of shame. So basically, this is the collection.
Well, I think I commented this. If I was Carrera, who are paying presumably rather expensively for a Ferrari slot car license, when they ask for the next instalment, I'd go, no, you can off, go and sort out these people who are making Ferraris without paying you the license fee. Thank you very much. Hello, you are listening to Talking Utter Slot, the podcast about having fun with toy cars. I'm Scott.
Hey, and I'm mobile this week. I'm on the phone.
You're on the phone.
I'm probably wobbling all over the place.
It's slot car shaky cam. That's
Nice.
But there'll be reason for that will become clear later because you're going to be on the move. Live from Nick's cabinet. Anyway, what have you been up to? What have you bought? What have you got? What have you played with?
So I've been selling stuff. I went to Leatherhead to the swap meet there. Didn't sell an awful lot, nor did many other people. We were slightly taken aback by the volume of Scalextric at bargain bucket prices, 2025 catalogue stuff. So stuff that's been advertised at 56.99 or whatever all year was 30 quid. And so people were filling the boots and leaving us with our mint boxed or secondhand stuff. By and large, was left alone. I think we sold a few cheapy bits here and there, and I sold some of my stuff to traders who are presumably going to make a nice healthy profit on it. But I needed to sell some stuff. That's why I'd gone. Such is the life of the hobby trader. So I did more selling than buying. I did buy some stuff. I bought two cheap Scalextric. There I am, obviously, bemoaning the fact.
If you can't beat them, join them. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
I got the Graham Hill BRM stack pipe P57, and I got the 2024 Adrian Formeau for the Puma. Because I'm now going to change the plates on it, obviously, because I can't leave anything alone. So it's now going to become a Croatia rally car.
Makes sense, yes, because you worked on that one, that's why, isn't it? So there's a personal connection. Yes, personal. It's just absolutely fine.
It's on my shelf of rally cars that I have a connection with.
Right, we love a segue on talking about slots. So shall we slide over to the shelf of...
Yeah, I mean, I witter on, don't I? And the thing is, being slightly unemployed of late, I have been sorting out the cabinet and the shelves of shame. So basically, this is the collection. I've rationalized it. I've pulled all the stuff out that I want to sell. I've actually got to drive tomorrow 20 miles each way or more than, to meet a guy from Kent who's buying 4 or 5 cars off me. Because, he doesn't want me to post them. So we're meeting halfway. Okay. So I'm having a clear out. I'm having a rationalization, and it's all fairly organized. So it's quite a good time to sort of, I suppose.
Right.
Have a look through.
And that's when we had technical difficulties. And although Nick gave us a tour of his shelves, we couldn't record any of it. However, he recorded it all separately, sent me the file, and I've stitched it in now. So excuse the clunky editing, but here's Nick's shelves.
Right, so here we are. I've got the shelves of shame all sorted out. I've been going through, rationalising the collection. So let's have a little walk through what we've got. So on the shelves behind me, which most of you can see most of the time that we do this, had a bit of a change around. There's some statics here, some little ones. Look, Professionals, Inspector Morse, The Sweeney, and Life on Mars. British TV detectives. Let's open the cabinet. Add a bit of light in. Slot car wise, we've only got these 3 here. 2 Ferraris, because I wrote the Haynes manual for the Ferrari 312T. And then the Porsche 956, that's the prototype in its livery that it ran just before its first ever race, when it was testing at Paul Ricard circuit en France. So that is that. I shall leave that open. Right. Oh dear. In here we have the Porsche 956 and 962 collection. I've actually taken 10 out to sell them. So we just got the 50 left, including the 2 here, which are the Dower 962 GT car, and the Kramer K8, which is a Porsche 962 convertible. So it goes all the way from, they're all slottits, they're all dusty, and most of them are kits that I've done. So this is actually the car that won Derek Bell the 1986 World Champion, no, yeah, an 86 World Championship, because he finished 13th and finished ahead of his teammate Hans Stuck. The Germans wanted Stuck to win the championship, so they didn't enter Bell. Bell went in a privateer car and finished ahead of Hans, and that's because they shared a car the rest of the year. That's how Derek won the World Drivers' Championship. So, up here we have got, on the shelves of shame, the professionals. Now, we've obviously got the Scalextric Capris, recently released, but also there's an awful lot of resin and 3DP bodies, all of which are painted, because I do that when the weather's good outside in the garden, and then I build them when the weather's not so good inside. So there's all those to do. Look at that little Austin Allegro police car. So there's all this sorts of stuff knocking around. I do build First World War aeroplanes, so that's those. I write about them too. These are cars that I've written about. So the Audi Quattro, primarily on this shelf. There is a little Peugeot there. Audi Quattro, I did all the rally cars, and so I've just kept the ones that really appealed to me the most. There's obviously a Mouton one, which should be dusty, from Rally Portugal. It is in fact covered in snow because SCX. Down here we've got more Peugeots. There's a top slot resin one. Most of them are the OSC/SRC Wizzy ones. There's a Raid one at the back there, which was MSC, I think. So, yeah, all going on there for Group B and Group 4 rally cars. Then we've got down here the Group Cs and IMSA GTPs and a couple of GTs at the back. So these are the non-Porsches, which I love the most. There are more that I love, but I've been rationalising the collection lately, just bringing the numbers down a little bit. And this one, the Porsche 935 Moby Dick, will be the Momo liveried car from Silverstone in 1982, which, whilst it's famous as being the first race of the Porsche 956, which would go on to win for the next 14 years, that 935, to me, as a 9-year-old at Silverstone, was everything. So that's why I'm doing that one. Same era, the big banger touring cars, V8s, mostly, yeah, Camaros. We've got the 6-cylinder BMWs there. There's the British touring car of James Weaver. James Weaver, the most spectacular driver in British touring cars ever. There's a George Turner Jag XJS. These two sort of go together in that I loved Jerry Marshall, and my best friend as a kid, he absolutely adored Jerry Marshall, and we used to go and watch him. And so that Lotus I remember very well, competing in Prod Sports. And then for my 50th birthday, I was given this by my said friend, who said, "Do you remember seeing Jerry Marshall throwing those big Astons around? That's why I've got you this." So that's a special one for those reasons. Down here we've got Miss Sierras. There's 2 repaints to go here, and then there will be, hopefully, Jerry Marshall's big Baby Bertha is coming from George Turner, so that's going to go there. The Sierras, these ones are all stock. I've got 2 repaints to do, one being Jerry Marnie's Aquati car, and the other one being Mike Smith's Cartel car, which was red and white, and the other one is sort of green, red and white. So that's them. And then down here we've got just a random assortment, British touring cars from the era when I worked on the series, Aussie V8s from the era when I worked on the series, DTM just because they're cool, and at the back we've got my collection of Scalextric E30 M3s. And then we come down here and we've got the James Bond cars. Now there are 2 gaps here which are very specific, but first we've got the Aston Martin DB24, written about in the book of Goldfinger, but it was called a DB3, but there wasn't really a DB3. So here we are going to have the 57 Chevy Bel Air convertible, which was used as a taxi in Jamaica on Dr. No. This is the Sunbeam Alpine from Dr. No, his first car. Then I've got a Rolls Royce to make the Goldfinger car here. This is the Airfix kit of the Aston DB5, which I think is still probably the best shape. Probably. We've got the Lotus Esprit S1, which I did the interior of and put a passenger in, who sort of looks a bit like Barbara Bach. And obviously Bond is wearing a safari suit in the model as Scalextric did it, and I put him into his correct clothes because I do things like that. Then at the back we've got the more modern ones, and this was a cheapie Stig Aston DBS. I am going to cut the door off it and put bullet holes in and make it the Quantum of Solace one. So that's those. Then over here we've just got sort of random sports cars down at the bottom. Those are my... Oh, I need to open the door, don't I? We've got historic Formula Ones down there, starting with, that's going to be Nuvolari's Maserati from 48. Then we've got an Alfa from 1950. Sterling's 56 Maserati. I've got another Sterling 56 Maserati. Sterling's 57 Van Wall. Two Ferrari 246 Dinos from 1958 for Peter Collins and Mike Hawthorne. Another Van Wall. And then we go to the rear engine stuff, where I've got a sharp-nosed Ferrari and a stack pipe BRM, because they are the prettiest rear engine Formula One cars ever. And now we're getting into the rally stuff. So here we've got the 90s shelf, starting with the Lancia Integrales. And then we've got Subaru. This is a repaint of the SCX in Richard Burns's 97 livery. Then we've got Escort Cozzy, Burns's RAC winning Mitsubishi. We've got an MSC Subaru, Scalextric Subaru, and a top slot unfinished Toyota. That's one for this winter. Up here we've got the classic rally cars, so everything up to 1980, because I do divide everything sort of on slot rally GB ways. So that is actually my wife's grandfather's car that he was a co-driver in on the Monty in 62. It was his own car, and my mother-in-law was taken to school in it regularly. And then these are the Tour of Britain Mark 1 Escorts. One was driven by Jerry Marshall, the other by Roger Clark, and they just had an absolute hoot and were wildly competitive with each other and drove each other mad, and it was fabulous. Michel Mouton's SCX Alpine, that's a Scalextric car, the current Scalextric RSR, converted to a particular rally car which competed in the Historic Championship in 2023 when I worked on it. And at the back, you just need to have those sorts of things in any slot car collection. A Mark II Escort, Lancia Stratos, and a couple of Porsche rally cars, because that's what you need. And then up here, 90s and noughties, Peugeots for the main, because I love 206s. I've had a 206 road car. I'd have another one in a heartbeat. If only Mr. Khan would allow me to drive it into London. And then here are the cars that I've worked with. So at the back, you've got 2009 primarily. There's a 2015 Chris Meek Citroen. And then in the front is my most recent stuff. So starting in 2020, when I started work for Autosport as rallies editor. 2021, there was a gap there for a Skoda, which I'm going to do as Andreas Mikkelsen's, which has just come out from Scale Auto. This is a kit Yaris, because I didn't realise that the Yaris was coming out, but this is the Mark 1 hybrid with the big scoops on the side. I've got the later car as a kit, because I didn't realise that Avant Slot and others were bringing them out. So anyway, I'm doing that one as the Safari Rally from 2023, Sebastian Ogier's car. And then this is a new purchase from the much reduced 2025 Scalextric cars that are at Leatherhead, and that's going to be Formo, which it is, but from the Croatia Rally rather than Monte Carlo. Then up here, this is probably going to be the title of the show. It's the Shelf of Loeb. Starting with his first ever World Rally car, which was paid for by the French Motorsport Union. And then obviously Citroens galore, One of them I'm currently using at the moment in our club's SCX 4x4 rally class. We've got another Hyundai coming for his 2020 car, and then the 2022 Puma. And then we go to more TV cars. So, got Inspector Morse and a police Focus, which is going to be rebodied as a police Vauxhall Astra to go with Morse's Jag. We've got this MGB is from the Ipcrest file. It was Major Dolby's car, and I'm also going to get a Ford Zodiac, because that's the car that Michael Caine's character Harry Palmer drove in the film. This is John Lennon's Mini Cooper, which is missing in real life. In fact, I think I found it when I was working at Goodwood, but it's in a bit of a sorry state, and the bloke who owns it doesn't actually have the logbook for it, because it all got a bit sort of lost in the mill. But we had all three of the Beatles minis at Goodwood in 2019 that we know exist, and we put out an appeal for Lennon's, and many mad people came forward because it is the most controversial mini in the world. If you can find Lennon's Radford Mini, you've probably got the most valuable mini in the world. As far as I know, it's currently painted in metal flake purple and sitting in a shipping container. Herbie, made out of the Scalextric using Ninko wheels and paint and decals. This is the Sweeney's Ford Consul. This will be the Life on Mars Ford Cortina. We've got the Ashes to Ashes Fire Up the Quattro, which has got all the characters in it as well. The Saints Jag XJS, and the new Avengers Jag XJ12, which is next to the Ninko Jag E-Type, which will come around, be repainted as the Avengers movie car Uma Thurman drove, a powder blue E-Type. Random shelf here, my new purchase, a generic Formula 1 car. That's going to be the 2024 Alpha Sauber. New purchase, that's for my track, because I think I should have a chicane where the professionals and others can sort of move around a bus. Just seems to be something I want to do, so I'm going to do it. And then up here we've got the Third Reich cars and the pre-war Grand Prix cars. I'm actually doing a book about them at the minute, because there's so much that people sort of have swallowed as official stories, which aren't actually true. So it's a bit of an investigative one to do on the silver cars of the 1930s. Now up here, we've got my static shelves. These are, just stood on something horrible. So, the Formula 1 cars that inspired me as a kid. There we go, lots of Brabhams and Williamses and Loti and stuff. Up until I started working in the sport, really. These are the Formula 1 cars that I have worked with, starting working at Silverstone on summer holiday work. My last summer holiday work was in '95 when Jacques Villeneuve did that test, and I sold so many cans of drink to the massive crowds that came because of the return of the Villeneuve name to the sport. Jag, that was my first proper F1 job. Michael's cars come from writing, well, I was a journalist for 2 years and also wrote a book about Formula 1 from Ferrari's perspective behind the scenes. Then my sort of more regular career up to 2013 with Kimi's Lotus there. Yeah, and cars that I've worked with their drivers over the years. And of course Silverstone Sid's Fire Tender, because you wouldn't have a Grand Prix without Silverstone Sid's Fire Tender. Down here are the other cars, other disciplines, non-F1 that I've worked with. So Modern Rally, Historic Rally, Skoda, World Endurance Championship in the LMP, the early hybrid years, and then touring cars and rally cars and Formula E and bikes at the back. So yeah, all that. These are the other Group B era cars from the rally collection. And at the back there, look, there's a touring car Sierra. The reason why there's a touring car Sierra is it's going to be repainted in pink. I will have a pink Gwyndaf Evans Sierra. So there you go. Now here's some bits and bobs. And then you come to the first American TV shelf. Now, this is primarily going to be Miami Vice. So there's a baddie driving an L33 like that in Miami Vice. We've got the Blues Brothers car. We've got car here, but that is actually going to be repainted just as a normal Firebird. I know the front end's a bit long, but I can live with that. Which appeared as Tubbs's car, because Crockett always had a car. Tubbs sort of had many and various cars. This one is going to be a customised bad guy Camaro, which appears in Miami Vice. That Porsche is a Miami Vice car. That's a standard Scalextric, but it's actually released in a livery that appeared in Miami Vice, so I got it. This is the Stranger Things car. This is Billy's Camaro, and I made a little Billy in there. I don't know if you can see him very well, but I'm really pleased with that one, actually. And this car is a favourite of mine. I've always loved these Thunderbirds, always. And it turns out this one's in a film that I really like as well, called Don't Worry, Darling, which is a Florence Pugh film. And this car was actually driven by that Harry Styles out of, not Take That, who was he in? You know, them, One Direction. So that one's going to become a car from that film, and I've actually just today ordered a 1961 Corvette body, which is the car that Florence Pugh drives. So we'll have those two as a little pair from a quirky film, but I really like it. Which leaves a gap here for the two Miami Vice Ferraris, which the Area 71 makes. So that's the first American TV shelf to go with my British ones. Down here we've got the first of the NASCARs, which are all repaints or finishings off. So we've got the IROCs at the front, and then the Scalextric Chevy Monte Carlos at the back. We've got the 132nd Snapfix kits, which are all to be finished off this winter. Days of Thunder, and then we've got regular liveries at the back. There's an Earnhardt car there, and the two Scalextric Thunderbirds, one's Earnhardt and one is from Stroker Race, the movie. Down here we've got the Gen 4 NASCARs, which were my favourites because they're the ones that were running when I got into the sport. These are the SCX and the Scalextric Sidewinders, mostly repaints. We've got Danica Patrick's there because she used to drive in Formula Ford when I was championship manager. There's a Marcus Ambrose one at the back as well, because Marcus was one of my Formula Ford drivers too. This one is my very favourite. Not only is it a Dale Earnhardt Jr. Daytona 500 winner, but when I posted it on Instagram, it got liked by Dale Jr. I am seen by the man, so I love that. Down here are the inlines. Then there's a few more modelly bits, and then there's the last of the American TV cars. So we've got Bandits, Pontiac. That's going to be the Dodge Charger from Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, a lime green one. We've obviously got the General. That's my old Mini. Doesn't really belong in that section, but don't know where else to put it. And of course, Starsky and Hutch's Torino. And then down below that, we've got all the club cars that we race at our club. So that is the collection, and the very, very messy room. So it is getting less messy, but yeah, that's what we've got. And I've only got a few cars that I've left to get. You can see the holes for them there. Anything else really is sort of surplus, so I'm selling off a load of stuff. But yeah, I want to get the Ford Zodiac, the two Miami Vice Ferraris, the Daytona convertible and the 84 Testarossa. We've got Florence Pugh's Corvette coming. That's about it. Now I've just got to finish building them. So in that time travelling manner, and my hand's in the way, I shall hand you back to myself and Scott. NSR Hypercars.
Yes, that's funny. I'm laughing. I shouldn't. Well, you used the plural, and of course it's a hypercar, isn't it? They claim a non-specific
Yes.
hypercar.
I suppose my concern with it is that they will be more than singular at clubs because people are going to turn up with them, but they're not scale models of anything.
Yeah, well, they're a kind of bad model of a Ferrari, aren't they? I think that's. I mean, there's enough similarities and of real lumps and
You may choose
bumps.
to think that. I couldn't possibly comment
No, no,
because probably that would seem.
no,
Well,
it
it's not as if
definitely.
Ferrari's lawyers have got far to go, is it, to find NSR?
Well, I think I commented, but if I was Carrera, who are paying presumably rather expensively for a Ferrari slot car license, when they ask for the next instalment, I'd go, no, you can bugger off, go and sort out these people who are making Ferraris without paying you the license fee. Thank you very much. Um, because I mean, your dear old Sideways are just as guilty, I think, and as are Avant Slot, aren't they? They do the same
Yeah,
thing.
fantasies. Yes.
So, I mean, whatever you think about licensing, it exists, and the company charges somebody a lot of money for it. So it's a bit unfair if the others then take advantage of that. But there's either a rule of law or there isn't. So, but the fact that I mean, I'm not a fan of NSRs. I don't really race that seriously. So the fact they go wizardly quick is kind of neither here nor there. The only two NSRs I've got are second hand, so maybe that's not a good example. But things which aren't really models of a car, I think that's kind of edging towards slightly different branch of the hobby, shall we say. So you may as well just have
Yeah.
a bit of Lexan that flexes down the streets and gives you downforce in the corners. Why not? Call it a Ferrari if you like. But yeah, so I'd be interested to see if it's eligible. You know how much people. Well, I guess NSR are running their own races and championships, so it doesn't really matter whether it's people consider it.
Presumably, it somehow fits the Italian national championship, whatever. Because I mean, that's always been their thing, hasn't it? I mean, I find it a bit cynical. I always sort of have, but at least when the founder Salvatore Noviello was around, sadly no longer with us, but I mean, obviously he won championships by the score by building these cars and then monetized his skills and turned out cars which, as he would always say, because we always used to complain on Slot Forum about NSR cars being soft on detail and weirdly proportioned, and he'd always come on and write in capital letters these massive long posts about why we're all idiots and they're built to win.
So
and we'd go, yes, but no, they're built to win. And so, yeah, that's I sort of miss Salvatore for that because just without that sort of charm and capital letters, it's just a bit cynical to me. Same goes with the Lola with its weird chassis. Same goes with the Porsche 908 with its stick-on headlights. Same goes with most NSRs, frankly. And the generic F1s leave me cold. Speaking of which, I have bought a generic F1 because we've got a class for them. But at least we're running like with like, and they are the polycar ones, not the NSRs.
yeah, I mean, I know I should say here that people can spend their own money on what they like, and that's not for me to judge, but it's just wrong. So that's scale models which move. But I guess I mean I love Ninko, and Ninko are always a little bit too wide. I like Fly. Flies are basically 1/30th scale, really, rather than 1/30 or maybe a bit more. Well, they're always the right length. They're just a little bit wide, and I think we kind of got used to that, didn't we, with them? But I know Scalextric and Carrera, I believe, from what the people working there tell me, are pretty fastidious about scale. Very interesting to note Maurizio has emphasised that the new Toyota hypercar they're bringing out is a scale model. So it won't be as wide as it. So maybe there's a fork in the road appearing, and for people who want scale models that work, there's going to be a whole bunch of manufacturers making them, and for people who want things which are built to win in Italian, then there's a whole one company making something for them.
Yeah, I think that fork's been there for a while. I mean, it's been something we've shunted about for 20 years. Vanquish MGs, madly sized Can-Ams and whatever else. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that a fantasy car, which doesn't even pretend to represent, well, it does pretend sort of to represent, or it doesn't, depends if you're a lawyer. It's just such a weird thing for them to have done. Why not make a van wall, for example?
Because they don't use lawyers, they use blokes with lumps under their jackets. So yeah, that's probably.
Well, there was the Colin Collis, bless him, turning up with another brainstorm. And he did a van wall, didn't he? Which I think turned out for a race once. I mean, I'm sure that he wouldn't have enough
It
money.
raced. Well, not only once, it had Jacques Villeneuve driving it, in fact, crashing it more than once. So, and it's rumoured because there's going to be a hypercar class in is it the Far East Hypercar Championship?
Oh, yeah.
Or the Asia Le Mans Series, I guess it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a home for the weird and wonderful stuff that's no longer cutting the mustard in WEC. So it's good.
Well, speaking of weird and wonderful stuff, I also tried
the Captain Scarlet. I want to call it a tank, which is unfair, really, because it doesn't have a. I remember from my Dinky Toy it had a missile, but I don't think it had a gun.
No, I think that's right. I mean, my one was my brother's, and had seen fairly hard service by the time I got hold of it. It had wheels missing, and the missile was gone, but it did have a spring in it for something. I tried it, and it was fine. It was noisy because it's empty, so it's like running a lunchbox round, really, with 20 odd wheels underneath it.
And do the wheels all touch the ground?
The big ones do, the little ones don't.
Okay.
But they're all on axles and they all turn.
All right. So and how does it handle if such a phrase? Was this on the Club Ninko track? I take it.
It was on the Club Ninko track, which it managed, but it had got a magnet in, which I wouldn't hurry to take the magnet out. Don't ask me if it's digitally chippable. It probably is. But, that was always the question, wasn't it? Can you chip it? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was perfectly fine, and it looked amazing, actually. And actually, it looked like it was going at the sort of speeds that it did on TV. So, as a thing,
400 miles an hour. Yeah.
Exactly. If I was prone to going to the O2 Arena dressed up as a character from Halloween or Herman Munster or something, I would probably go and buy one straight away. I think it's the cosplayer's intro to.
Is it? So, which captain would you be if you were going to be a captain?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember Captain Scarlet that well. I did have an annual, again inherited from my brother.
Well, if you say you want to be Destiny Angel, we've got a whole different conversation going on.
No, I didn't pay that much attention to Jerry Anderson stuff.
You definitely don't want to be Captain Scarlet because he literally gets killed in every episode. Because that was his whole point, was he was indestructible, but in order to make that relevant to the plot, he had to be killed in every episode. So there's probably a modern, slightly dark twist on that could all be made, couldn't it? This poor bugger is out saving the world, and the only reward he gets is to be killed every time. I suppose it's a bit like, I quite like it, that Tom Cruise film where every time he gets killed, he resets the time, and he spends months slowly getting it.
You probably like it for different reasons.
Who was in it? Who are you?
Emily Blunt.
Yeah, she was good at that. Yeah. But that's I wouldn't watch it just
Emily Blunt's doing press ups
for 3 hours. It would be a bit much. Never mind. Anyway, back to slot cars. Forget that. I can't remember if I told you this on camera or not, but I just this morning ordered my Sierra Sapphire Cosworth. And I ordered it from Scalextric.
One though, from the many that are the Vista.
I was looking forward to the Scalextric one because that's the best livery, I think, the Q8 livery, and I think they've, as previously mentioned, this one will be vaguely scale, but I was absolutely delighted because I got it through Amazon, and because I get Amazon vouchers because I spend too much money on my credit card. I got it for free because I'm an Amazon Prime member. There was no postage, so I feel doubly delighted. So that should arrive hopefully next week sometime. And I'm holding off on SPV because I haven't quite got the money at the minute. But also, let's see how it goes early in the new year, because I think I'm not. There's a lot of good stuff. But we must talk about. I'm talking about new Scalextric releases, though. We must talk about the Volvo.
Yes.
We must talk about the Volvo now. If I can, if younger readers, younger listeners and viewers, just put your fingers in your ears for a minute. As far as I can tell from my social feeds, lots of people are losing their shit over this car. There's just grown men behaving like, weeping. Everybody seems to have bought a Volvo Estate car from the touring car and proclaiming all sorts of undying love from their childhood. Now, obviously, I'm a bit older, so I wasn't quite that fond of it. I mean, well done, Scalextric. Well done, Simon. I think he said he was, they knew this one was going to be a hit, and it seems to be. Thoughts? What's your thoughts on the world's? I think I'm right in saying the world's first slot estate car. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a bold claim.
That's somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But anyway, yeah.
I love that era. I worked for Toka, the championship organizer, for 3 years just after that. And the 850 saloon was still going when I started. So yeah, I love it. I love the 5-cylinder warble of a Volvo anyway. I don't think that gets replicated in 1/32 scale, but everything else looks absolutely pucker, and you can always make the noise whilst you're driving around.
Well, the reason I'm laughing like that is that I was, those dark confessions of grown men playing with toy cars is, do you, even if it's just inside your head, let's make it, do you sort of think of the noise, if it's a distinctive noise of so for example, if you're running an Audi Quattro slot car, do you hear in the back of your head a wastegate chattering going on? And I have to confess, I do. So yeah. But I can't.
I've seen a guy on YouTube that sort of makes he can do the Audi, the 20 valve Audi, and he has a steam iron as well to do the wastegate. It's hilarious.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's just brilliant.
Yeah. I can't imagine there's anybody doing that over the current cars, but let's not go down that path. Anyway, but have you seen in the plastic of these Volvos yet? No.
I have. Graham bought that with his SPV. He bought both. They arrived on the same day, which happened to be a Wednesday, which was club day. So he brought them along. And yeah, I mean, the Volvo's a lovely thing. Obviously, for me, they're going to be a bit tippy, because the wheels have to be so far in, because obviously back in the day the camber was mad. And the tyres were sort of cone shaped to cope with the fact that the wheels were sat like that, and that's how they managed to get them so far up into the body. Whereas obviously with a slot car, unless it's a Revo slot, which whatever, you can't have camber. So you have a straight axle, the wheels are straight, which means they've got to be quite far inboard to do that. We've seen that already with the BMW 320. This is no different. The BMW M3, the little E30 one, that's the same. The wheels look magic from the side, and then you turn it a bit and you go, blimey, how narrow is that axle?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a gorgeous car. It's got everyone excited, and it's that time of year. Miserable most of the time. It's sunny today, but it's miserable most of the time. So why not get excited?
That's why I'm sitting. I'm out in the statutory pretending that I'm not freezing. Again, for listeners rather than watchers, I'm sat in my conservatory, which I did during the summer for recordings. It's quite warm in here then. In the winter, there's no heating in here, so although it looks sunny, it's not that warm. not quite breath coming out. But anyway, that's fine.
Well, I think we know that there are more Super Tourings coming from Scalextric, so that's good. Yes, they will all be. No, they've teased it. They teased a front corner of a car, because somebody said, "Oh, I hope they do this livery on it," and so I said, "No, they can't, because it was so many changes from one year to the next." And I got a rather urgent call from Simon going, "What do you mean there's changes?" So,
well, it doesn't need to be. Yeah, does it matter? I suppose if it looks enough like the thing. I mean, this is like a huge contradiction to what I said about NSRs, but I think if it's a, yeah, depends how different it is, doesn't it? And the old store. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. But it's quite nice to have the different liveries. They didn't change much. I'm slightly intrigued though. I mean, I think the E36s were my car, so I want the Super Warsteiner one from 92, was it? No, 93. I'd love a 92 car. I mean, God, the green coupes. Yeah, I would dearly love one of those, but
Full of illicit things.
that's not going to happen. No, the car was legal. The transporter it came in may have been used for more than shipping a race car around. That's all we shall say. But yeah, I mean, in a way, it's a livery that shouldn't work because it's a kind of dodgy green, a black bonnet with a pink dragon on it, and some shell stripes down the side. So it looks.
This colour, that is the actual colour that Vic Lee used, which was used on this Porsche 962, which is actually Ford Peppermint.
Well, I at the time I asked him, I said, I want to make a model of it. What's the paint? And he said, I don't know. We just mixed it up. Now, he maybe just Ford Peppermint. I've got somewhere a die cast which I had made for me. Because obviously Ray Bellman was one of the drivers, and as a sideline to being a multimillionaire, not petrochemical, what was it? So, chemical industry heir, I think, wasn't he? But he had a little model business that I think his father had going, which made resin 1/43rd scale models. So inevitably there was a model of the car. Anyway, that's not a slot car. I'd like a slot. So Simon, if you're listening, do me a favour. No, don't do that. There's a whole load of other Rover SD1 liveries I want you to do first. I have the photographs and the files. Just get in touch. I'll show you which ones to do. Got very odd. We're away from the Volvo again. So I haven't bought. I'm thinking it's a bit like Crocodile Dundee, and you're going to go, what is he talking about now? All the hype about Crocodile Dundee, and I just went, you know what? I'm not going to watch it now. So I've never watched Crocodile Dundee. And so a little bit like that. Everybody's going bananas about a Volvo Estate car, and I'm going to go, you.
I love Crocodile Dundee 1 and 2.
This is fine.
Subsequent to 2, they went downhill fairly rapidly.
Well, most franchises do. Let's be fair.
Yes, and there wasn't a great deal to this one. Let's be honest.
Yeah, so well, I know it's got an Australian man in a hat with a big knife and making jokes about America, sort of thing. But that's about as much as I know.
It's at its best actually when she's in Australia. When you've got the Australian stuff as well. The bits in New York are a bit, but. Yeah.
So do you mean it's like Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo? It's better when he stayed in California. Anyway, we're veering severely off the slot car track. Now, probably what we should record now, in case
we're sort of teasing, aren't we? We're teasing our World Cup.
Teasing. Well, we're going to do another World Cup style. It's I want to call it. It's a knockout, but that's maybe too parochial. But it's going to be a knockout competition. Here come the Belgians. It's going to be a knockout style competition. May have overreached ourselves this time. When last time we did it with 16 slot car brands or companies. This time we're going to do 32 slot cars being pitched against each other in a knockout competition.
We're not throwing them at each other.
Which could take the rest of our lives to record. But anyway, we're going to try.
Based on the evidence of today's recording, I'd say it will be.
Yeah, so but that's coming soon. Where soon has an open-ended time at the end of it. Soonish. But yeah, so hopefully we'll do that, and that'll be out before Christmas, just as a treat, and instead of an advent calendar sort of thing. Well. Longer than an advent calendar because of 32, but anyway, it wouldn't work. So I'm waffling on. So hopefully we had some trouble recording this at the beginning, So if there's been some dodgy edits, you'll know we didn't overcome that.
Because I'm about to go back now to record the bit that you've just watched. I'm like Doctor Who.
It's the magic of television. Right, so keep slotting, everybody. If you've got an SPV or a Volvo or a Sierra Sapphire or an indeterminate NSR hypercar, as long as you're having fun, that's what matters.
And if it's on your Christmas list, you can look forward to it because they're all very good.
They're all very good. No, don't say that. That's all slot car. Every slot car isn't very good. You know, this is the real controversial thing we have to say. Every slot car isn't very good. Some of them are better than others. Just not everybody.
I'm just saying from experience of the ones that I've seen, having driven them.
All right, yeah, okay, but you know what I mean. Not every slot car is fantastic. I'm going to get that as a T-shirt.
Especially generics.
And with that, bye.
Goodbye, everyone.